All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started again. Up next is Bob Harned from Berea College Farm, going to be talking to us about pigs. Like I said, Bob is the farm manager at Berea College Farm. Growing up, Bob's family operated a 100-plus sow farrow to finish farming operation. After graduating from University of Kentucky's College of Ag, Bob returned to his family's farm to work with his brother for nearly a decade before he was taking a job at Eastern Kentucky University Meadowbrook Farm. And after nearly another decade at EKU, Bob was hired as the farm manager for Berea College, where he continues to work at one of the oldest continuously operated educational farms in the U.S. So let's give him a round.
David, where's the, how do we,
And he'll move through.
okay, so forward
Yeah.
and backward.
Yeah, mono's backward.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta make sure I got this all down here so I can, I'm like these others. I want to walk and talk a little bit. I'll try to stay tied to this and not wander off too far. But if I get to flinging and waving, well, that's how I kind of roll. Here to talk about pasture pigs. I'm fascinated by this homesteading idea and the fact that one can have, oh, look at that. I'm free at last, Homesteading. How many of us drive by these small suburban areas or farmettes, and yet the neighbors all want to talk about, I got to get out of here. I got 2 acres to mow. I got 5 acres to mow. What kind of potential do we have? And with a conference like this, a symposium, and we can look and think and talk about all kinds of varieties of things that you can do. And how do they all interrelate? Maybe some grazers, some rooters, some scratchers, some cluckers, some horticulture, orchards, all kinds of wonderful potential here. Okay, yes, I do work with Berea College Farm, and yes, 150 years, oldest continuously operated educational farm in these United States until someone can prove me wrong. We just celebrated our sesquicentennial. Brought a couple students with me, Nicholas Serrano, Jordan Jackson. I tried to convince them to participate and to give the presentation, but I failed. But they're here to pick up a few things, so we encourage all kinds of learning, and this was an opportunity they wanted to take advantage of. We have a diverse farm with cattle and poultry and pigs and horticulture and all these things going on. Berea is unique in several ways. One, we are a labor college. Every student works a minimum of 10 hours a week, and you will see a lot of photos with students. And who gets the work done? The students do. What does the staff do? Worry, clean up the messes, keep an eye on things. We're also unique. There's not too many small liberal arts colleges that have a farm or even offer degrees in agriculture and natural resources. So, okay, got to focus, got to keep the program moving. I am going to discuss pigs, farrow to finish, farrowing, breeding, that's where the work is. Homesteaders, you need to focus on buying some feeder pigs. I'm going to say the same things a lot of these other folks have said. Start small, get a few, go from there. But the way the presentation is put together, then, it just kind of included, we all want to see some cute pig pictures too, right? When David asked me to do this, I said, okay, sure. I dug back, not in the file cabinet, but on the computer. I first put together or worked with someone who put together, a student, a pasture pork presentation. That was about 2011. These fancy slides were all put together by Samantha Kindred back in 2011. Now, Sam was a great student. She was our pig manager, and This is about the time they all started carrying those cell phones. I found myself constantly, put that thing away. Always taking pictures, I said, put that thing away. We got work to do. Then we were asked to give a presentation, and I had to eat crow, and I said, Sam, all those pictures you've been taking, we really need those. So, this is hers. I'm sorry I dropped her name off of that, but anyhow, pasture pork at Berea College. There. Jordan, Nick, you're always asking me when. Well, here we go. 08, that's transition time. But, there's the whole Berea College thing, and except it doesn't, the farm started about 1871, and we don't know exactly when they got, pigs, 1915, or when we have that. But, transition year. We always had some sows in gestation outside, but this is when we really said, all right, we're going pasture. We added pasture poultry. We shut the silo down for the beef cattle, all those sort of things. Big transition. AWA, animal welfare approved. That's a third-party outside certification that came in and is a part of our marketing. And there's been some changes since that time, but we've worked out a few details. Hopefully we can talk about some of the failures. We're an educational facility. Every mistake, every foul up is a learning opportunity. So, a little bit about our production cycle. We are currently farrow to finish. We have 2 farrowings in March and September. That means we do breeding in the fall of the year in November, and then again in May. So our farrowing, we pick farrowing dates and everything goes off of that. We back up. 114 days is the gestation. And we wanted to hit that spring and fall time to get away from the extremes of heat and cold. What year was it? We had the real hot first week of September. It was not good. It was not good. Heavy bred sows, a lot of student working on keeping them cool, but that is what we really haven't tinkered with that since. But it has worked for us. But we're trying to get 2 farrowings a year out of that, produce enough pork for our marketing. So if you're homesteading, you want to think about, I don't want to throw a lot of money into this. Now, we have a different budget, and we're the living laboratory for our ag program, and opportunity for our students to get this hands-on experience. And, if you're studying agriculture, you may want to work at the farm. Not all of them do. And we have a lot of non-majors, but of course a lot of those are science-based, biology, chemistry, those kind of things. So we've come up with a variety of things that have worked for us that I think a homesteader could think about. We spent several years building troughs for sows to eat on. We'd build them, they'd tear them up. We'd build them, they'd tear them up. Anything you can move, they can move. A hog is born to root. They practice it every day. We got frustrated. We took 2 pallets. Everybody's got a few pallets. We screwed a piece of plywood on top of it. Yes, they can move it, but we can move it back. And I can't stand pouring feed out on the ground. You can use shell corn and pellets, don't get me wrong. They will find every grain. But we're grinding and mixing, and on muddy times out on the pasture, not good, not good. Feed is the single biggest cost for any livestock. Be mindful of that. So here they are, and they do tear them up, and our students build new ones, and so that has worked well. Also note, when we get into working piglets, this is in, maybe that's the next picture. Yes, just like that. So we've got some hog gates here and some hog panels and that sort of thing. Our breeding, let me back up a minute, I'm getting forward. Our breeding, we use a lot of artificial insemination. We can order semen from International Boar Semen or other suppliers. We do keep a boar hog, so we use some of some natural breeding. But in the end, we're still using a lot of artificial insemination. It's easy to train our students, and we can keep detailed records. You turn the boar out, you don't know who's bred or when. We can keep more detailed records, calculate due dates, that sort of thing, a little more control. You're going to need some facilities for that, typically, and to keep that in mind. But our breeds, we're using Yorkshire, Duroc, and Berkshire currently. In a lot of ways, we put the pigs outside, but we've tinkered with a variety of things. So you can find pasture operations that are heavily dependent on what the pasture is available. And those pigs, they're omnivores. They will eat most anything. We still grind and mix our own feed. They have opportunity, pasture, but we are not as dependent on that. And so we really haven't changed a lot in our genetics. We have tried. We have utilized some heritage breeds, Tamworth, English Large Black, Gloucester Old Spot, but by and large, we'd seen a decrease in muscling and an increase in fat, and that did not work with our market. Back to what is your market? If you have a market for that at the farmer's market or a restaurant, then they will pay good money for certain heritage breeds. We're also looking at what breed? Hereford hogs. There's another not real common breed. So we try new things. We try a lot of new things. And so we're looking forward to seeing how and where that goes. But we kind of just keep this 3-breed rotation. You'll see some red sows with little white pigs and black and white and this and that. And we want to keep some crossbreeding and heterosis and that sort of thing going. Here's a good look at farrowing time. Our trap pens. Everybody knows you don't get between mama and baby. And that big old lardy sow that roots around can move a lot faster than you'll ever imagine. Put you over the fence, won't they, Nick? So, and a sow has a roar when she hears that baby pig that'll throw a chill down your spine. But they go into their farrowing lot, they come in to eat, then when they farrow, they come back to eat. We can chain this up and safely go in and catch little pigs to work with them. Somebody's catching, and somebody's always watching. We've had a couple of failures. And there's enough distance that we can drop it all and run away if we need to. I was referencing, and I think Nick got on the chased in because, so here we are on facilities. I'll save that little tale for a moment later. So I've included, this is a great SAM. We have wooden huts. I'll reference a lot of brands. We use Porta huts. And see, here's some of the old huts that aren't all bent up. This one down here we're pulling with the tractor, we call that the super hut. That's 12 feet wide and 21 feet long. These others are individualized huts that we have used for the growing pigs or for farrowing. And we'll put these huts out, and each sow gets her own hut. This is an English-style hut that's got the end on it and a little door. This is from just this spring, and we brought those in. They were supposed to help you save pigs a little better. I don't know if I'm convinced of that. And then we got we tore down the old confinement hog barn and used it to build some other huts with. So here's a little A-frame hut. Again, you'll see a variety of materials here that we've kind of scrounged. This is the kind of thing you might want to look at, is getting something and putting it together as an example of a farrowing hut. The point is we've got this variety of huts out here, and they're spread around, and we put bedding in there, and Mama can pick a hut. Well, we found in September, sometimes when it's warm, she decides, I don't need a hut. And she's way over here somewhere, which led to us trying to catch pigs when maybe they weren't all trapped, and a little bit of scrambling around. But we do two things. One, we ear notch. We don't use ear tags, we use ear notches. And so, I'm accountable. I've got to keep track of every animal on the farm. And two, we castrate all the males. The quicker the better. It's easier on you, and it's easier on them. This, it can be done, but it's not easy to do. So if you're in the feeder pig bind, you want to buy a weaned pig that's had all this taken care of, that you can take home and put out on your pasture and is ready to grow. Is ready to grow. So gestation, we're more focused on huts. Wintertime is bedding. Summertime is shade. We have the feed pads. And in the summer, we don't have a lot of shade, so we have shade structures, and we use a lot of sprinklers. Heat will kill them. Heat will kill them. They do a lot better in the winter. You give them shelter and bedding. Feed them right, they'll be all right. So, in the winter we spend a lot of time bedding, and in the summer we spend a lot of time moving. So, all pasture, we have got a big pasture operation going. You park any group of animals in one place for too long, it's a disaster. I've seen the chickens scratch the grass up. The hogs will root it up, the cattle stomp it up. Anyhow, it's just never good. Move, move, move. Now, wintertime is a little different because we need water that's not going to freeze. We need shelter. We need some things. But during the green season, move, move, move. But these broilers and pigs are doing more than growing. You've already heard it. We move the broilers away and we bring in and grow something else, maybe some vegetables, maybe forages, maybe something else. You're not just carrying feed out. You're carrying it to your little processors who are turning out nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. And of course, if you don't move them, you're going to have way too much of that in one spot. Move them around, follow them with something else, because we'll grow some grass or some forages for cattle to eat behind ours, something of that nature. But move them, move them, move them. So we move into the farrowing and the huts there. Okay, veterinarian care. For our sows, we do still vaccinate erysipelas, leptospirosis, a few variety of things, some E. coli, I guess, before farrowing. The piglets, nothing. My goal for every piglet is to touch it twice. Once, to castrate ear notch. Two, loading it on the trailer to go to market. Doesn't always work out that way, but, there's a goal. We got to all have a goal to deworm, deworm, deworm. Even as much as we move them, a group of pigs, we will deworm at least 3 times. Through the feed, it's not simple. And I might defer to the veterinarian, but the more you rotate And the more different animals, I know cows, pigs, sheep and goats maybe have similar parasites, but the other animals, it is a dead-end host. Thank you. See there, a little communication. So that pig might be rooting around over here, or the chicken scratching through those cow pats, or spreading that sheep and goat manure around. There's a synergy there that can be very, very beneficial to everything. I'm not a big preacher on holistic management, but boy, you can see a lot of great things as you rotate and go through and have different things at different times. That, how much time do you have? How much management? How much do you have going on? We're here to talk about opportunities, this, that, what's going on. All right, so we're moving through. We got some vet work. What have I got up here next? Oh, well, we're talking about handling sows, moving pigs. We use these red boards. We also were able to purchase this pig cart. That's a hydraulic operated. It can go up and down. And we find that to be very, very handy. It's also great. You can trap a pig on there if you need to look about it or treat it. That's an expensive item. So, here we are on working pigs. Who's this guy in the picture? Yeah, okay. So there's an ear notch going on with Nick and Lily, I believe. And, I threw this one in. Here's Zainab and Zdenyich. And they're stitching this pig up because he got his leg hung on one of the old huts that was falling apart. And what are we going to do? I said, well, we got a suture kit. Who wants to sew him up? This young lady, I knew it, her hand, Zainab, yeah, I'll do it. So I was building a pig hut. That's what I was doing. They stitched it up. A young pig like that is growing so fast, okay? And if you could just get it together and we smear some red gel on it, it goes back, boop, it's fine. It's out there running around right now. Huh? There's an opportunity right there. Here they are. Well, we don't have any creep feed. What do we all grow up eating? What mama feeds us? Bam, same thing right there. After a while, maybe not enough milk. Let's go see what mama's snacking on. There it is. They're all eating. You can see somehow or another the arrow got right up here. We have a nice feed factory over here, grind and mix and grain storage and that sort of thing. A little bit expensive for the backyard kind of folks, but you can buy feed. You've already heard it before. Feed them right. Make sure it's a nutritionally balanced pig feed. Now, the other great advantage for the homesteader that's got a few pigs is that omnivore. Got some vegetables didn't sell, throw them over the fence. Our horticulture operation had a great year for winter squash. We fed it to the pigs because we sure couldn't sell all of it. Sweet potatoes, we went through that. Got them blood spot eggs. Throw them over the fence, pigs will. Now, we get questions a lot of times. What about food waste? We collect all the food waste from the dining hall. We do not feed it to pigs, we compost it. If you are interested, now what you do with your own home food scraps, that's up to you. But you start doing this, it's highly regulated. You better talk to the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. It's a local school says, I'll give it to you. You better check. Because of trichinosis, it's very regulated. But can they eat it? Yes. Will they graze? Yes. We have them out there eating grass and plants all the time. We have seeded a variety of things. I will not sow turnips again. Our pigs don't want to eat them. We tried to starve them into it. Sorry, they wouldn't eat it. Clovers, fodder rape, there's a variety of things to eat. But I don't know. For our operation, turnips, nope. I think the students ate more turnips than the pigs did, maybe. What are you eating there? Well, those turnips, not where the pigs were, but on down in the, oh, what we got next here? Okay, we've worked on hogging down corn in the past. That actually looks like a Jimson weed to me, and then some good stuff right here. See, that's some of the fodder rape and some clover and a variety of weeds. It's really interesting. They will nibble and eat on anything. Even, I mean, you know, we put the feed to them. Hogs born to root. They're out there. They're rooting around. This and that. A little bit of rooting. You know, what about the rooting? They're going to root. That's all there is to it. Whoa, well, do you ring them? No, we do not ring. That can be a management decision. But I tell you this, the rings only slow them down. If it's moist ground, look out. They're going to do it. Waterers. So we have some fixed waterers that are frost-free. That's one of the, you know, it's got the heat well. We still have a few electric waters in another field, but on pasture, on mobility, you know, moving, we have these 80-gallon tanks, and we fill them with a garden hose. That one's actually mounted on a skid even. And it's a little blurry. I don't know. Might be ragweed for all I know. Anyhow. There's one. Keep them adjusted. If they run over, it gets wet, and then that was at ground level at one point in time, but not now. Oh, is this the clock I need to be? Oh, wow. Somebody should have been. All right, here's look at that. There's a Super 6. We do use feed. And then we have an auger wagon, and who's unloading? Yes, this isn't COVID, this is dust. Feeders are on skids. Initially, we didn't put them on skids. They sunk into the mud. The pigs rooted the mud up into there, and it froze. Whew. Not good, not good. Oh man, here's the super duper hut. We took some of the metal out of the old hog barn and the other parts and pieces, and Charlie and the students put this together. That's about 12 by 24. And it's a nice communal housing. That was taken just a little while back. And again, we can pile that full of, we don't necessarily have, sometimes we have straw. We've used old hay, but be mindful of the dust and mold. That old hay that got wet, I think is better off as ditch filler or, you know, recycle it. But fencing, I will say again, get and have good perimeter fencing. We have woven wire, we have board fence because some folks in the administration think we need to have a blackboard fence, but they will get out, and it's not good if you're next to. Well, we've had them get in and visit the subdivision next door, and it's not fun to go door to door apologizing for all the fence. So, there it is. We also have, we have used a bit of barbed wire on one of the other fields, but let's, all right, so here's the board fence, and you'll see the one strand of high tensile, okay, nose height of the walking animal. We started out at 8 and 18. Here's the question. Where do they root and why do they root? I don't know, and I still don't know. But they love to go to the fence and root, and all of a sudden that 8-inch wire isn't 4 inches, and then 14 big clods roll up on it. And that electric fence isn't hot anymore. Mind the fence. I think 3,000 volts. But you got to You check it, because I guarantee you they are, and they are going to keep at it. So one of the other pictures we use polywire for the cattle and the pigs. We have these multi-strand, and so we're running hot off of this. This is just a battery-operated solar box that we have found to be very, very effective, and you can move it. You can lift it off 2 nails that are stuck in the fence, and on you go. There's a wire hanging off the side of this woven wire, but it's kind of hard to see. You've got to be away from the woven wire. If it sags, if it touches, it's a dead short. Not good. Sows are on 1 strand. The growing pigs are on 2 strands. Now, little pigs, get out. I've got to where I don't care unless they're, really in the road or a pest. On or about weaning, we wean about 8 weeks of age, and this is when we really try to train them to stay in, because we don't need them wandering off and going here and there. So we've seen those little pigs go under the fence, get zapped, squeal, and they don't care. So there is a certain amount of training, which brings us to, oh yeah, there's another good shot of 1 strand. There's a 2 strand, and we'll start out with smaller pigs at these 2, and then we'll bump both of those up, and as they get closer to market, we'll take it back to 1 strand. If you give them the necessary space. You tried to crowd them, it's not going to work. So they've got to have some space. Water, water, water. Yes, the most important nutrient. Be sure you got water. Make sure it's not, it's not going to freeze on you. And be mindful of, if you got pigs in a wood lot, those trees, have much of a cooling effect. We don't have as much of that, so we end up having shade. And it's a yard sprinkler that we mount on a T-post, and it just, we turn them on in the afternoon, and yes, it makes a puddle, and yes, they'll root it up, which is why we try to move them every week. Yeah. Okay, anybody want to guess which side of the fence the pigs are on there? Moving pigs. So yeah, here's the gang and the hog cart, and we all got a board, and we can move pigs. We can back in and unload or load up. It is handy. Or hey, they've all got 4 feet. Let's just walk them. And we've had some good luck doing that. Now, I tend to look at the number of pigs to number of student ratio, because occasionally you give them a chance to run and go. They take advantage of that. So how far can they go? And are the gates to the road shut? You can ask yourself a variety of questions. So again, we have a lot of labor. So we do things with a lot of labor. You have to design something that works for maybe fewer people. Oh, here's loadout day. I like this. So we got a cattle trailer, which means we got to have a ramp, which means we need several people. But anyhow, we've kind of moved that around and switched that around. Sometimes we put them on the cart and matched it up, and there's Taylor trying to push the pig up the ramp. Oh boy. So, okay, now I'm moving into marketing because I've got just a few more minutes. We don't typically sell a lot to the stockyards. We have our own internal markets. Dining hall serves our pork, and we sell in our own farm store. We used to do the farmer's market, but we opened a farm store. What sells? There's a lot. I'll tell you what sells. We all know what sells. Bacon. A pig only has 2 sides. There's only so much bacon, but you got to market the whole animal. So, sausage also sells well. If you want to get that sausage, bacon, and egg client going, boy, that's a good one. Here's something at the farm store. There's the dining, pasture raised. Yeah, I got a lot of glare on that. But We sell some pigs off the farm. We sell a few feeder pigs. We sell some meat hogs off the farm. Mostly, we use Marksberry as our processor. They are USDA. They're all inspected. You know, you put your name on it. Again, there are legal issues here, and you've got to go through that. All right, challenges. Leave them in one place too long. Need a pond? Yeah, look at that. Didn't move the waterer. It leaked. Something, you know, it's hot. There's moisture. You know, when does a hog not root? I used to say when it was asleep, but I guess when the ground is frozen, that's when they get up out of the bed, they go over, they eat, they drink, and they go back in the hut. About last December 23rd, that was their activity. So what I saw on our farm was, you know, the cattle need something fresh to eat every day. We move. Layers and broilers, it's just a part of the routine. The pigs were kind of neglected, but the last couple of years, we've done much better at saying we got to make this a priority, move them. So that is what we have been doing, and there it is. Mama was nibbling some grass. That was just a few weeks ago. And there's some contact information. We are an educational farm. If you want to drive by in the spring and fall and jump out and take some pictures of the little pigs, that's fine. Don't get in with them. If you wish to maybe come out and look at things and get a little more of a tour, give me a contact and a call. Questions? We got a minute for that? We're going to hold the questions, so I'll be around. We're going to move it on. Thank you.